Welcome to Guys Unpacked. This is Dre.
This is Rich. And again, we are back with another great episode for you guys. So before we get into it, remember, log on, subscribe,
share.
Follow us on all social media platforms.
Tell
all your friends. And make sure you get the notifications. We're on Anchor, Spotify, YouTube, audio, video, the whole nine.
Comment. Let us know what you think. Tell us what you want us to talk about. All that good stuff.
Yep. All right, Dre. So we're going to start here.
Yep.
DC is lifting the vaccine mandate.
As of today.
As of the date of this recording.
Right.
For those of y'all who didn't know, like New York does it, a couple other, I think maybe Cali, we need proof of vaccination to enter gyms, restaurants, movie theaters, and for us, clubs and locations where people go to enjoy libations and listen to loud music.
So, Prestigio.
Yeah. So, well, before we get to that,
because last week you were like, I'm not quite sure.
I was on the fence.
And now there's clearly a reason. I think God heard
that I was
our
on the
podcast and spoke to Muriel.
All right. Yeah. So now I'm pulling the trigger on it. So
okay.
April 24th, for anybody.
Can't wait.
April 24th, my actual birthday.
It's gonna be extra late.
Yeah. It's going to be on my actual birthday, Sunday, April 24th. The full details are going to be coming out soon, but just look out for that. Tickets going to go on sale within a week or so. And
you ready?
So the detail, I've ironed out 90% of the details. Maybe, honestly, by the time this airs, we might be 100%.
Okay.
But I'm thinking a flyer may be out in a week or so, and then once the flyer drops, tickets go on sale. So
can't wait.
Yeah, stay tuned. But
as you say that,
we got March 20th.
Oh, we might have something before March 20th.
Oh, what else?
We might have a pop-up brewing next week since it's Carnival, the week leading up to Carnival.
Oh, Carnival.
Details to come.
All right.
Looking at like something day party-ish.
Okay.
Because we at the age now where, like, honestly, I'd rather get nice during the day and have the rest of the evening to sober up, and like the next day I can be fully functional as opposed to like having to sober up the next morning. So
yeah, I'm at an age where I can do either. I cannot do both.
Like, right.
I can if I know I have to go out at night, I can. I would prefer
not to.
Yeah, but if I know I have to, and now for me with with intermittent fasting,
right? Oh yeah,
it throws my whole schedule off.
How's that been going?
Late. Good.
Yeah.
So
you lose any weight yet?
I haven't stepped on a scale.
Okay.
Like I told myself, I'm not gonna step on a scale for a month.
Okay.
Specifically,
that's good.
Right,
yeah.
Just to not, I don't want any encouragement, discouragement, anything.
Sure.
Setting unrealistic goals. So I was like, all right, give it a month. Actually, stick with it. I knew I would have some days where I would falter, and I did. Like yesterday, I did because I was traveling so long in the day.
Okay.
Like in traveling back to Georgia to drop my kid off and everything. Yesterday was her birthday. So,
happy birthday, little one.
Yeah, she turned 9. She's excited.
On Valentine's Day at that?
Yeah, it's her birthday. Ooh. She's a Valentine's baby.
Okay.
So, with all the traveling, I was just exhausted. I had to eat something. There was no way I was going to make it. And even during the week, I kind of adjusted the time a little bit. But other than that, I'm an alright, dog.
Nice.
I got to a point now where I am not getting hungry as much.
Okay.
And
your stomach is actually shrinking. Like the stomach lining itself is probably shrinking.
Probably.
Right.
And I've developed a taste for black coffee, which I did not think would happen, but yeah, son.
Okay.
I'm able to deal with it and tolerate it way better than I.
So it's black, but that's also no sugar, no
nothing.
Oh,
straight
geez.
Black coffee, no sugar, no cream.
Oh god.
Because that is allowable within the time of the fast.
Okay.
And it actually helps me it keeps me from being hungry.
Okay.
I was told that it helps suppress the appetite a little bit.
Better than water?
And it's work. Yeah, way better than water.
Okay.
Because I'll drink water and still be hungry. So I'll drink this. Now, probably because my body doesn't like it. So it's when I drink it, it's all
right, you've had enough.
No, mas. We don't want anything. If this what you feeding us, we don't want anything. So,
cool.
But yeah, dog, it's been all right. So what day you guys looking at?
We're looking at the Saturday. Finalizing everything right now. That's why a flyer hasn't dropped. We have a teaser.
The Saturday that would be Carnival Saturday?
Right.
Okay.
So next week Saturday.
Okay.
I think that's the 26th if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And yeah, man, we're just trying to do something different, like literally just something for the folks to do. Because right now, this is year 2, no carnival. People feeling it. So like, and I will also say this will be like the precursor to the 20th because it's gonna be carnival. Like I don't want to hear no dancehall. I don't want to hear no hip hop. I don't want to hear no Afrobeat. Like as much as I love those genres, it's gonna be more or less strictly the best preview.
Okay.
If anything, you know what I mean? Like just straight soca, a lot of newer music that like isn't getting to play but should be getting to play, like all that.
Right. So, on the topic of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
New soca music.
Amazing.
What do you think of the new releases?
Amazing. Like, I think that like, so I'm kind of two minds with it, right? Like, a lot of great content is out, which automatically gives enough music for people to play and not have to repeat, kind of like we were talking about in the last episode, right? Not that will actually happen, but like it would be great.
Right.
The other part that's a little bit more difficult is it's so much music out there, and because everybody wants to only play the hits, what happens is a lot of this good music ends up getting like overlooked and will kind of fall by the wayside. And it happens every single year, but I think when there's no actual carnival, it's even worse.
It's definitely worse.
Right? Because you don't have the parties to even test some of this stuff out a little bit and let it build. Because if you think about it, like when we're in Trinidad, at least on the radio, you're going to be hearing some of these things. And in some of the party early warm, you'll hear some of these things. Like now, it's only prime time. So...
Right. And the thing is, it's not only prime time.
Correct.
Everybody plays like it's only prime time.
Right.
And, I think like... Back to your point, like I'm not even seeing a lot of new mixes yet.
Right. I didn't even drop mine.
Where
I'll drop mine next week.
Right. Like I know I normally look out for a few.
Yeah.
And I know Close Connections retired.
Right.
So
they still do mixes. They did a mix the other day.
Close Connections?
They did. It blew my mind because I still follow them on SoundCloud.
Oh. And
I was like, oh shit! It was like an end of the year type something.
Oh, okay. Yep. See, I don't follow them on SoundCloud.
Okay.
So I didn't know, and I normally would listen by now to what they have. I heard Gel's mix and I heard Ryan's mix.
Yep.
And even those were before like the wave of new music.
And that's why I haven't dropped mine yet because so much music is coming out still.
So much music still
that like out. Because there's no actual carnival to prepare for, I can wait until the last minute to drop my mix. Whereas before it was
you want it out.
I kind of want to market myself,
right?
And also get people prepped for it. Now it's like it ain't nothing to prep for; it's just to hear good music. So
and that I guess is giving up, and that's probably what's giving a lot of the artists a little bit more time to like put stuff out because there isn't that deadline of I need to have this out by Carnival.
Yeah.
But I saw I was trying to find it.
Private Ryan.
Post by Ryan.
Yeah.
And co-signed by DJ Gel.
Yeah.
Where basically, and Ryan, I'm going to just read it. It's unfortunate that a lot of the good new soca songs may not get their fair shine because some DJs are either too scared or too lazy to play them at events, yet in other genres, they rush to play the newer songs.
Yep.
Gel co-signed. And the excuses I just hear from DJs as to why we shouldn't play new soca is even more disappointing.
Yep.
Then we wonder why our genre isn't progressing.
Yep.
And the excuses. And I mean, you guys can tell me how you feel about some of these excuses because I've definitely heard some of these.
Yep.
People don't know it People don't know it, or they will stand up and watch you.
Let's stop with that one first, because what I want to do is I want to actually comment on each one of them.
Okay.
Right. So for that first one, just playing devil's advocate here, I actually understand where DJs are coming from here. Not saying I agree with it, because I don't agree with it. Because as you know me, I'm the type, I'm gonna play what I play. Like if y'all don't get me forward, y'all don't get me forward. I'm talented enough to mix fast, right? I can move out of it, right? But like the way people consume music right now is a lot different than it was in the past. Where like in the past, you can drop a new song in a party, and once it sounds good, people will party to it, right? And you can kind of do that now, but you have to be a lot more creative. So like Back to Basics is amazing at doing this. And he will literally pull up a song and he will just like drown you with it for like however long, right?
Right.
But we also live in an era where people consume music, whether it's on podcasts or SoundCloud or YouTube, whatever it is. So now people are coming to the parties with an expectation of what they want to hear, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if what they want to hear is not like that new song, right? To the point where if I drop this song and people just kind of stand up, then any real employee is going to look at that as shit. If I don't get forward, no forward ends up equating to me not getting hired again. So again, I don't agree, but I understand why DJs will look at it from the standpoint of these people don't know the music, so playing it in a party, like trying to tease in the party, doesn't make sense. I will also say though, some DJs can still play the new shit early. Play it early warm. You don't have to play like all the newest things like primetime. You can literally drop some of these things when nobody's partying anyway, and you're just building a vibe. So
right.
That was the first one. What's the next one?
Because I'm gonna come back to all of these once we go through them. Number 2, the new Soca is shit.
That's bullshit. Next, because
right.
the new Soca is actually really good.
There's no carnival, so what's the point in playing it?
That is part of the biggest issue that we have.
I don't even think that. Let's circle back to that one, right? Because I think that's actually a stupid excuse.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's one of the biggest issues. Like, if we really want this to be a global music, it can't all be centered around carnival anyway.
Right. Marshall didn't drop any music this year. We all know he carrying Soca anyways. That's stupid. He did drop it.
That's a bandwagonist.
Right.
And I will say, yes, Marshall does to a point carry Soca music during the carnival season. But one of the beautiful things about like what we're seeing right now is he's not dropping a lot of music, and there's still so much good content out there.
And honestly, when I think back to like the last couple of years, his releases are not what carried Soca over the last couple of years. When you think about the biggest songs, like, okay, yes, he was on Family, but that song was not a hit because of him. He was just included in a hit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like Savannah Grass was Kess.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's been he's had hits within the of
sure.
course, because he's going to put out 15, 16 songs.
And that's actually the point. I think so when I use the terminology of him carrying the genre, it has more to do with like
volume,
the volume of content. So because like when he comes out with music, so if he pulls out 10 songs for the season, right? Usually at least 7 of those 10 songs are going to be in rotation.
Yeah.
Whereas like the other artists, they might have like 1, possibly 2 songs that are big.
Nobody puts out the volume per season that he does.
And that's why I say it, because as you know, at the end of the carnival season, it's all right, what song's gonna last? And he usually has multiple songs lasting, whereas other artists might have one song lasting.
And again, it's like the shotgun approach. Like,
correct.
If I widespread, I'm gonna hit something. So he'll put out 15, and like you said, a bunch will catch. And honestly, some of them catch just because of name.
Of course.
Just because of who it is. Because the song may just be okay or might not be the best song on a particular rhythm, but it's the Marshall, so they're going to play it.
Right.
But, okay. So there was that.
I think there's like 1 or 2 more, right?
There's 2 more. Number 5. And this is stupid. Like some of these are people not studying Soca. They want to hear Zest and Dancehall.
Next.
Right. I won't get booked for another show if I play new music. And that's kind of what comes back to the first point.
Yeah.
All right. So, and my takeaway from the excuses is like you said, number one only has legitimacy in a space where you're more worried about people's reaction to a song they don't know versus you being willing to introduce them to a song that's hot.
Right. Yeah.
So, and I'm not a DJ, right? I attend parties to enjoy myself.
Right.
But like you said, I also listen to mixes.
Right.
And I'll listen to like local radio back in Trinidad. So when we're talking about Soca, I'll typically know a lot of the songs walking into the party.
Sure.
The problem with his statement, and even the problem with your analogy with the problem with saying that a part of the issue is the way that consumers consume music is this. A friend of mine online mentioned, like, in the middle of, like, the weekend where she had been to a bunch of different parties, she was like, nobody played Take Bamboo Girl.
Right.
Right? Now, if you follow any kind of social media, you know...
Take Bamboo.
That song got a buzz right now.
I fucking hate it, but yeah.
Right, but...
You gotta play it, though.
Right.
I'll play it, though.
No, that's what I'm going to say. Perfect example, right?
Right.
You may not like the song,
right?
But if you are following and you hear what the patrons like,
right?
So when people walk in expecting to hear certain things, sometimes what they expect to hear, you should be playing. You know what I mean?
I think you should be playing exactly what they expect to hear.
Right, but you were mentioning how sometimes people come in with a preconceived, like, I want to hear this, and it might not necessarily be the new stuff.
So it ends up being, I think, it's a fear thing, right?
Right.
Like, I know that this formula works.
Right.
So I'm going to just stick to this formula.
Right.
And
they're playing safe.
Right. And the difficulty is, like, to your point, there might be 50% of the people in this party who actually want to hear something that's outside of your formula that you just don't know because you're assuming.
You're not trying to play it.
Right. And again, for me, and I know this is also because I have another job, like that's my main stream of income, and I have other streams of income here and there, that I'm not afraid to not get forward. I also have the ability, like I said, like I can mix quickly. So if I try to do something and I think it's going to be dope and it doesn't get the forward, I can go back to formula for a little bit. And then I can go test something else, test it out again. And like, if this new song doesn't work, go back to the formula. If you're good enough and you're prepared, you can do this like throughout the night until something catches. And you also don't have to be the one to get like the most forward. Like,
right. And that's the thing I want to say, like, especially if you're not the closing DJ, right? Nobody's saying you have to fill your set with new music.
Sure.
But if you know a few songs that are like, I almost feel like if we all listen to this stuff, right?
Sure.
Like the DJs are getting the new music. If they have the time, they're playing it. They're seeing which songs they like or they don't like. The patrons, like I said, when new mixes drop, we listen in our cars or we're driving in the gym. So we know the songs, the soca people, the hardcore soca people. So when you get into the party and you know for a fact, okay, these songs are new.
Right.
I need to find a way, and this is where the practice part comes in. Let me find a way to mix this into my set.
Correct.
Intertwined with some of the already popular songs.
Sure.
So I'm build a vibe with some songs that I know you know, some songs, some surefire hits, and then I play one or two new songs.
Right.
And then when you are, and this is part of where like MCing while you are playing comes into play, right? Like when you can also like intro and build up the hype and let people know, and that's where Back to Basics, when he does it, he will let you know, look, this is new.
Right.
You don't know this yet.
It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be a hit.
Right.
Like,
just listen to it.
Right.
Take Bamboo.
Dog, he did that for Fed Up with Wrong Again, right?
And Top Striker. Like he done it for a few,
for a few songs,
particularly Grenada music.
When he would come back from Grenada, I remember being on a boat ride in New York. So and it was new. It was Silent Morning, and what's the name? And Wrong Again was brand new.
Okay,
hadn't really bust in the. Him and Tony ran that song a few times because he was like,
I know y'all not gonna feel it right away.
You don't know this song yet? Take what I'm telling you.
Right.
This tune here, and son, like, and it was not a hit because he played it into being a hit, but it was like, I know this is a dope song.
Sure.
Y'all just haven't heard it yet.
Right.
So even if I don't get at the initial forward for these first two times I'm playing it,
right. Eventually, you get it. It's very similar to being a parent, right? Like, you got your kid, you introduce them to stuff, and they're like, I don't really like this. Right. Eventually, they have enough time. It's like, you know what? This is really good. It's like Callaloo for me. Growing up, like, the color of it, like, it's just not something that looked appealing. Now, give me a Callaloo and some macaroni pie.
Right.
Dog.
Right.
Killing it.
Right. And so, it's the exact same concept. My problem is, with the soca thing, that on the same token that you have DJs who won't play new music, they will resort to fucking break, in case of emergency, break glass, play pallets. So you don't, so you have beat this song to death.
Yep.
Right? But you're scared to venture into some new stuff. And it's why people like me are so sick of Palance.
So here's the thing, though.
Because, let me finish, right?
Go ahead.
Because it's a combination. I think if I was going to parties, I don't think particularly in the DMV. So now we're going to get it very local, right?
Okay.
Where I feel like the DMV is always late to play new music anyway. We're always late to play new music. As an area. I'm not counting any individual person.
Okay.
As an area, we're typically late to play new music.
I give you that.
So when you go in a party wanting to hear something new, right? I remember like when Party Done came out, and a DJ was coming on to play last. Will remain nameless, but I was like, okay, nobody play Party Done yet. It's nearing the end of the party. You're the headliner.
It has to play.
Has to play at some point. Right. And another DJ was standing there. He's like, he's not gonna play that, right? And he did not.
Really?
Yeah. The year it came out, it did not play.
So when the cameras aren't rolling, you gotta let me know who this is.
I will. Yeah. But Palance played that night.
Years before.
Right.
So here's the thing, though, right? Like, and this is actually kind of the point that I was about to make before you continued. And actually ties directly into the comment you just made about like DC as a whole, and I was like,
Yeah.
So it's not all in the DJ, right? And the only reason I say that is because the DJ only gets to play if they're hired, right?
No, I agree.
So I feel like promoters also have to take some blame, because if promoters realize like, yo, if I hire Rich and Rich doesn't play outside the box and he only sticks to the formula, and I actually want to hear some newer music in my parties, then next time don't hire Rich, dog. Like next time hire White Boy.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Like but so often it's this buddy shit, and I know I've benefited from this, so I'm not about to sit here and act like this is
right.
only other people,
right?
But like, if you can't have and you hired me before, if you can't have a conversation with me and be like, yo, Dre, you played at Prestige last year. I expected to hear these songs because during the time that you played, you didn't play them, dog. Like, I can't hire you moving forward if you cannot do these things. Like, people have to have those conversations, and ego has to go out the door,
right, in
order to be able to like build the vibe of an event where people get to embrace all of the new music.
Right. So it was like, me and White Boy, and we haven't done it because there's been no carnival. We started doing Blaze, right? And I remember I've even told you, like, one of the instructions for the DJs for Blaze is, I need to hear new music.
Right.
End the story. Like,
and I played for Blaze a year.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I'm using that as an example. Like, it's part of the whole thing where, like, we got tired of right before Carnival, no new music played. So it was like,
now
hey,
play real fucking music.
I don't care. Like, I will continue to book. I don't care if the crowd doesn't respond like you want them to. I will continue to book you as long as you are playing new music
for me.
right. At this party, because eventually the crowd will get it.
Yeah.
They will understand that, yo, like,
when I go to Blaze,
like the girl who I was saying was just complaining that Take Bamboo didn't play any party she went to for the weekend. I was like, right, because these local DJs or whoever is being booked, they're not playing it yet.
No, you're right. You're right.
And there's no excuse for a song like that, which is one of the songs that's definitely been getting a lot of social media play.
Correct.
So you have to know that, yo, if nobody else had played it yet, all right, I go play this. So,
bro, I be itching to play new music. Itching. Like, I even remember, like, before we go off this topic, at the last Mojitos. So I didn't play for long because there were a whole bunch of like issues that we had to handle behind the scenes. Right. And I was helping doing that. But I did come to play. And I was like, fuck it, I'm only playing new shit. And granted, this is the end of last year, so it wasn't even all the new shit. Right. So it was whatever new stuff that had come out plus some of the old stuff. And looking at the crowd, I'd be like, yeah, they don't know this music. But I'm like, fuck it, they're gonna be all right. Because and beauty is, my sister was there. So I play this shit, and if there's only one person I'm fucking playing for, it's my sister, because she gonna jump up to all of this shit.
And let me tell you, to finish this off, the beauty part of that is, as a patron, I may not know the song now, so I may not necessarily fuck with it at this party, right?
Right.
But then 2-3 parties down the line, once it picks up, I will remember. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Right? Hopefully.
Yeah.
But that's where you're playing the long game.
Right.
You know, like, look, I know what I'm doing. I'm introducing you to these songs. So even if your first time really enjoying it is 2-3 parties down the line, you should. And if everybody doesn't remember, that's fine. If 2 or 3 people remember, yo, there's a song Dre played last November.
Exactly.
Now you know, okay, well, look, I know when I go party with Dre,
right,
I'm going to hear some new shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
All right.
Speaking of music, though.
Music?
I mean, the Super Bowl, like,
nah, bro.
That's what we watched the Super Bowl for.
That's what, it's kind of what I watched it for.
Bro, like, everybody watched it.
But no, I'm not going to say it's the only reason I watched it.
I mean, I watched the game, too, and I was excited to see the ending, but, like, let's be real. The majority of people watching this Super Bowl, this one in particular, because don't nobody give a shit about the Rams or the Bengals except for Rams fans and Bengals fans.
True.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when they saw that Super Bowl...
The majority of black people. Yeah. Like, we definitely...
I legit went to a Super Bowl party, and people showed up late. Like, I got there, like, in time for the game.
Yeah.
It was empty. Right before halftime, I was like, what? I told her, I'm out, dog.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we just came for the halftime show. I was like, you could have done that at home.
You literally didn't have to come out to a party for that, though. Right. If you're not going to watch the game...
It was an epic halftime show, though, bro.
It was a really good halftime show. I'm not going to lie. It was a really good halftime show.
What was the best part for you?
Lose yourself.
Okay. Yeah.
Lose yourself.
Goosebumps.
Lose yourself was the best.
It took you back to 8 Mile a little bit.
Lose yourself was the best. Because I liked all of it.
Yeah.
But most of it was like expected. It was what I kind of expected.
Sure.
I didn't know what M was going to perform.
Okay.
So when I heard him go with Lose Yourself, and it is one of his better, because M has a lot of off-the-wall shit.
Sure.
That probably doesn't translate well into a performance.
Sure.
And so I wasn't even thinking about it, because that's where my mind was like...
What are people going to perform?
Right, like...
So I don't know this for sure, but like I'm going to put my head on a block. Dr. Dre choreographed or like designed, whatever you want to call it. He curated that entire set, right?
I'm sure.
Because if you really stop and think about it, all of the songs that were performed were like mega hits, like on a pop standpoint.
Yeah.
Like every single one, right? To the point where they had, from a culture standpoint, some hits that they could have played that we would have loved way more,
right?
But would not have transcended.
It would not have been. No, and I completely get that, and that's what I'm saying. I was like, because I don't know if you remember, like Kendrick Lamar kind of ended with like the lyrics forgot about Dre.
Yep.
And then that sounded like that's where they were going with it. And while that would have also been dope, or at least to do like half a verse from it, and then transition,
it just would not have been big enough though.
But that's what I'm saying. They could have at least kind of started with that, and then let him do Lose Yourself. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
Because I did say, I think me and someone else were mentioning this, and I thought about it during. I like the 50 coming out.
You mean Dollar Bill? Bruh, he's about twice the size as he was, like...
Yeah, he put on some weight. but listen, but I was saying, before we even get on 50's weight, I did like the special...
Dog, it was perfect. Like, because when you hear... Well, you wouldn't hear it because you weren't there, but like, I fucking screamed. Like, I was like, oh shit! Like, I was so excited to see it.
Someone spilled the beans to me earlier. I saw a post or something where there was like 50 Cent rumored to be there. And so when he came out, I was like, this, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't as much of a surprise. I can't remember what I was
glad I didn't see that shit.
Yeah,
the shock factor for me was like amazing.
I would have lost it if Method Man came out with Mary
Dog!
To do All That I Need. Dog.
And it would have been perfect.
It would have been
because Power Book, like it would have made so much sense.
And Meth has been trending too lately. Dog, if he had came out and did All That I Need, that's where I would have lost it. That's where that would have been so. As great as it was, of course, as fans of all of their music, you're gonna nitpick little things, and I think part of the part of the whole thing was like. Typically with the artists, you'll get one artist. Yeah. So they get to go through a lot of their music.
Correct.
When you have this big ensemble...
They got to work together.
Sure. Everybody gets one song, a song and a half. You know what I mean? Right. So they all have extensive catalogs. So there's a lot of music that could have played.
Mary J should have played Real Love, though. Like, that's what I expected her to... That's what I expected her to perform, bro.
Yeah. If Mary J had...
Oh, that shit would have, like... And the thing is...
Although I like No More Drama, and I think...
me too.
And I think No More Drama... in that setting with the band and everything, definitely hit.
Yeah, it hit. It hit without a doubt. But
I agree with you.
I feel like that would have been a better song because like it worked with tempo and everything too. Like it would, and I think that not only would it hit us, like like the white people also would have been able to be like, I know that song.
Yeah, Real Love would have definitely.
And I mean, honestly, that's her most iconic song, in my opinion. And now, that said, from a number standpoint, it might not actually be. And that might have been what they were going for, like from a streaming standpoint, from a award standpoint, all that other stuff. But either way, it was amazing show. Like it literally left me feeling like, yo, that shit felt kind of short, dog. Like, I feel like
it absolutely felt short.
But like if you look at other halftime shows, and it was kind of to your point, usually it's one artist and they perform multiple songs, so it seems longer.
Right.
Like
right.
the time wise, it was more or less the same.
Okay, because that's what I was saying. Like it felt
so short.
I was like, I wanted more. I absolutely
Everybody
wanted more.
did. Everybody did.
So I was like, damn, that's it.
Yeah,
I guess
bro.
they got to still play football, huh? Like,
and I got to shout out M though, because and honestly, I didn't realize this shit like at the moment until afterwards.
Yeah.
So I found out. So when he kneeled at the end of the performance.
Yeah.
So I found out, like I was reading, he actually asked the NFL if he could do it. They said no.
Did they say no?
Apparently.
I read that they were okay with it.
So either way, he did the shit.
Yeah.
And I give it to him. Like out of everybody, like the white dude decides to take a fucking knee.
You know what though? It's a good and a bad, because I think the problem was someone had said that only M could have done it.
That's bullshit.
No. And I agree with you. I'm not saying he could have.
Right.
But they were like, they kind of like reversed the symbolism, whereas like, yeah, of course, the white artist was able to do it. It's
more impactful when the white artist does it.
But so there's that argument, but some people saying only the white artist could have gotten away with it. You see what I'm saying? There were people who made that argument where it's like, without getting the backlash.
So those people don't understand the concept of, if you're not getting paid, you can technically do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah.
Like if they had shown the NFL, this is what we're gonna do, and then they decided to do everything differently, NFL can't do shit
because it's live.
It's live.
All they can do is not invite you back.
Exactly.
A la Janet.
You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, like that is one of the beautiful things about M to me. Now, granted, to your point, if the NFL was fine with it, then it doesn't matter. But
yeah. That's what they said.
If the NFL wasn't fine with it and he decided that he was gonna do it anyway, like the beauty is there's no paycheck to it. So what you want? How you gonna?
Honestly, even if you don't, honestly, I'm not gonna get invited back anytime soon anyway, because you don't do the halftime show.
You don't do multiple. Yeah.
Right.
Like so, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
And also, none of those artists needed it.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
All huge artists.
All have multiple streams of income coming in from other places. Mary J is blowing up on Power Now. Like, everybody's good.
I think one of the dopest things, I saw a meme, like today I think it was, and it was like, I can't remember all the awards, but it was like, show me 44 Grammys, an Oscar, and a Pulitzer Prize. That's what it was, right? And then they showed like a shot of all the artists that played, and I was like, who the fuck would have got a Grammy? M got a Grammy for
an
8
Mile.
Mile.
He got the
Oscar rather. Yeah. Oscar for 8 Mile.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, that's true. Mm-hmm. Such an iconic moment, bro.
And I thoroughly enjoyed the fact that like it went off flawlessly.
Oh, for sure.
Like, great choreography. Transitions were good.
All of it.
Nobody slipped up and cussed on live TV. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, it was all good.
And 50 even hung upside down and didn't fall. Like, it was flawless.
Bruh, they showed a video of when 50, like, because people were making jokes. And shout out to 50 for being a good sport. Because he's been, like, sharing the memes.
Oh, he loves this shit, though. Because he understands that all this is good publicity.
Right. Like, so he keeps sharing the memes of himself and making fun. But then he's also like, Power Book 4.
Right. Like, that's the one thing I love about his captions. Everything he posts ends up being like something with power.
He's like, yeah. Who did this shit to me? Power Book 4. So shout out to 50 for being a good sport, but being smart enough to know how to say, hey,
we're gonna leverage this shit.
But we're gonna still watch the show though, right? Cool. But yeah, he definitely put on some weight, bro. I can't talk because I've also put on some weight, but
so I watched the and this is kind of funny, but like I read a meme. And it wasn't supposed to be funny, but it was like, you know, all your people talking about like 50's weight gain. 50 doesn't see any of this, but like your friends who struggle with weight, they see it. And I was like, all right, it's a little bit of a stretch. But I was like, I mean, it's kind of true though. Like, and then another one I saw was like, all y'all talking shit about 50's weight, y'all aren't the same size as like you were when that album came out.
Someone said, I just saw y'all 10-year challenge video.
All right.
So they was like, y'all need to eat something off of 50 right now. Because y'all ain't doing so well either.
Dog, the funniest part for me too is because like, I don't even know why. Actually, I do. I was listening to Get Rich or Die Trying in the car. Because I was trying to like let Cameron hear what I consider like good hip hop.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So in the car, it has the album art.
Yeah.
And I remember looking, I was like, damn, 50 used to be really lean.
Yeah.
Right? And then, and this was last week. And when he was like hung upside down, I was like, ooh,
yeah,
okay. You look like you ate 50.
Now, but they did show like how he pulled himself up there. So I would say he's still like,
yeah, like he's not fat. He's just
big,
bulkier than he was before. Yeah.
Because I remember they showed the meme of how he got like not the meme. They showed like another camera angle
how he got up
as Dre and them were performing. Like he enters the stage, grabs up, and like just literally just pulls himself up and hangs upside down for it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like he was just dangling there waiting. It wasn't like everybody performing that way. And he just upside down just because that was one of the memes like
pass out because
right
like,
there was
blood rush to his head.
They had the meme of the dude like straight in the face like 50 waiting for Dre and Snoop to get done. And I thought he's been posting them too. So even that meme about how 50's not seeing it naturally, he's seeing it.
He sees all of that shit.
Because 50 lives on social media as well, which is also, as somebody who honestly, I was not a fan of 50 in between like the Massacre and Power. Not caring about the hip hop. I just didn't like the persona of 50, right?
I've always loved it.
But like 50 for the last 10 years or so, 5-10 years.
Amazing.
Nah, he's hilarious, dog. He's hilarious.
And
I'm a fan now. He's hilarious.
I think what's dope about it too is like it has nothing to do with the music.
Nothing.
So you get to see a different version. Like you get to see a different version of him.
You get to see a more. He's not playing the role, and I say playing the role. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know him. He's not trying to be the thug, the gangster, the heart. No, he's just on social media clowning.
Right.
Whoever.
I love that shit.
Whoever. He's like
Madonna.
And now he's not doing it with the pretense of I have an album coming out, so I need to generate beef or generate publicity. Correct. It's like, yeah, I'm still promoting stuff because I still have these shows I'm executive producing, so XYZ. So I'm still staying social media relevant at all times.
And culture relevant.
Right. Too. And culture relevant at all times without putting out any new music.
Right.
And this way I can still promote my stuff, but in a funny way. I like it. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. Me too. And he's a good sport because the jokes and the memes were hilarious.
You know who was not a good sport though?
Who?
Eli Apple from the Cincinnati Bengals. Bruh, like if you shouldn't talk shit on social media was a person, it's Eli Apple. And the thing is, like I said, I don't really give a shit about the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
I don't really care about the Rams either. I was hoping the Rams won. I was happy that they won. And really why I was like, I'm an OBJ fan. So like I want him to get a ring.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he was a Giant. So like I was mad when he left. Right? I was like, and then when I saw him go to the Browns, I was like, oh God. This is not gonna work out for you at all. So then when he got to the Rams, I was like, okay, this could work.
And caught a Super Bowl touchdown.
Right, and then I was blown because he got injured. I was like, shit.
Yeah.
Right, but the irony though is, Burrows, Eli Apple's quarterback, has been very adamant about like I'm not gonna be on social media. I'm gonna let my game show for itself.
Yeah.
But this dude, after they beat the Chiefs, started talking shit. Started talking shit. And right after they lost in the Super Bowl, bro, like so many receivers across the league, not just Chiefs receivers,
burning him up,
dog. I can't remember which receiver it was, but like one that was on the Chiefs Super Bowl team, posted a picture of his ring, and was like, one day you might get one of these, but until then, you might want to work on your craft. I was like,
bro, because he got burnt up in the game, son. Yeah, he got
understatement of the year,
burnt
bro.
up in the game,
Like
so
pass interference, like all kind of shit going on. I was like, bruh.
Yeah, like
that tweet didn't age too well when you talk shit about
not at
like.
all. And so I was just reading where like his mom was like clapping back at a news reporter, at a sportscaster for talking shit about him. I'm like, first off,
the moment your mom got to jump in, like you lost.
Like he should have been like, "Ma, no." You know?
Right, like don't do it, please.
Please.
Like let it die down.
Like leave it alone. Right. Like it's going away.
Right.
I don't need you defending me, because the reality becomes with these sportscasters is, yeah, if you're not playing well, it's their job to mention that you're not playing well. They're not here to coach your ego to try to make you feel better. It's yeah, you did not play well.
And then if you talk shit, they're gonna talk about you even more.
And they're gonna bring it back up. Yeah. So, but all in all, good game. Great halftime show.
I was scared for a second. Like I didn't think that the Rams were gonna pull it out.
Yeah, and you know what? I like when I am not
sure how the game's gonna end up.
And when I'm not invested in either team.
Right.
I love a game like that.
Yep.
When I don't care who wins, because now I'm just
watching the game.
No kind of emotion, no nothing. So like,
unbiased.
To use an example, like I don't care about the Bucks, but I was a Brady fan. So watching them, I didn't have any invested interest, but because I still wanted Brady to win, watching them roll the Chiefs was like an easy game to watch because it was never in doubt. Versus watching them play when the Patriots played the Rams and the game was close, it was a defensive battle, nobody was scoring no touchdowns. Bruh, I'm there like stressed out the whole game. So being able to watch a close game that comes down to the wire is just enjoying good football with no kind of stress. I didn't really care.
Yeah.
I actually wanted the Bengals to win.
Okay.
But
why?
I kind of liked the story of like the Joe Burrow second year and winning a Super Bowl. Even though I also liked the Matt Stafford finally winning a Super Bowl story.
After all these years.
So it was like I was completely
it's a win-win.
Right. But my mentality is if I'm watching it, I have to root for somebody.
Sure.
So let me root for the underdog, because that would be a cool story if the underdog won. That's really all it was. But
and the irony is like even though the Bengals were the underdog, like wasn't really far off.
Nah. Both teams were pretty close. Even like on paper, the Rams were way better, but in the game,
the Bengals actually dominated,
except for Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald's a beast in that second half.
Aaron Donald, but like but if you think about it, right, like as soon as OBJ was out the game, the Bengals just like took over,
right?
Which shows like that's a huge issue on the Rams side of the ball, because if one player plays such an integral role in pulling
people off a cup.
You lose him, whether it's by trade, by injury, he retires, like what you got now?
It's an issue that they won't have to deal with right now.
Because they got a fucking ring.
Because they have a chance. Still on the NFL, your boy, not your boy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for correcting yourself.
Is that your boy? McDaniels, new coach of the Dolphins.
Yeah.
He was they got the draft capital for doing a minority hire, because he identifies as multiracial. Right?
Sure.
But when asked
he
said when asked, he gave a press conference and he was saying that he identifies as human. Right? Trying to do the politically correct give the PC answer.
Yeah, that's some white people shit, bro. Come on, bro.
And
that is some white people shit to be like, I identify as human.
The problem is though, I'm
not saying he's white, because he clearly is multiracial.
But the people who do it is black people. Like Raven Simone did that.
Right, but it's always mixed black people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's always someone who is Tiger Woods was like
called Blade. Whatever. I can't remember what he coined.
And you know what? And there was a point where if you had one drop of black blood.
So that's still what it is, though. That's the thing.
Well, that's what it is technically, but a lot of these people are straying away from that, which I don't care one way or the next.
Neither do I.
But
to a point,
I don't care at all.
So when I say to a point, like, well, I don't care personally, but like, it's one of those things where it's like, all right, so you are multiracial. So let's say you have, keep it simple, a white parent and a black parent.
Right.
Right. But
how was that multi? Isn't it just bi at that point?
Well, that's biracial, but for this point though, right? Just keep it simple, right? I'm not knocking you for embracing both parts of your sex. Like, I think it's actually important to embrace your whiteness and embrace your blackness, right?
Absolutely.
I think and it's not even a difficulty for me, but like I think where gives me some pause is you step into arenas like this, and it's like I just see myself as a human. Like it's like I don't want to choose, so I just see myself as a human, and it's all well and good, and maybe not for Mike McDaniels, but like for the average biracial or multiracial person, the way that you're seen though, like you might see yourself as a human, but the way that you're seen is usually as a black person.
But here's the thing. So the thing with Mike McDaniels, and he almost said it. He was like, a lot of people see me and they see me as, and you could see him forming the W.
He couldn't say black.
No.
Or he could say white rather.
Because he knows he looks white. Like if you just look at him, you won't.
Right.
Just a quick glance.
You wouldn't know. You wouldn't
see a white guy.
Right.
And so I think part of it was because he knows what he looks like.
Sure.
He's now trying to.
He's trying to straddle the fence.
Right. And I just think it's something about about messaging. Like when you're coming to do this press conference, right? You have to know how to navigate these current times.
Yes.
How to navigate this particular arena, because you're now the head coach of this team. You're going to be in front of this mic every Sunday.
And I'll even add to it. This is on the heels of what happened with Flores.
Right. And you're his replacement.
Right.
So it's in the middle of this lawsuit. And I'm not saying you come on there and say, yeah, niggas, I'm black.
Black. You don't gotta say that shit at all.
You know, nobody's asking you to do that.
And nobody expects you to do it.
Not this Black History Month. Nobody's expecting that, right? But I just think when you say I identify as human, that's a little dismissive of both your cultures now.
Little?
Because, well, I'm just, it's a little dismissive of both your cultures because you're saying, I'm just a person. I don't care about, that's almost like saying I don't see color. Yeah. And it's just such a cop-out, stupid sentence to say, like, okay, boom. My mom is white, my dad is black. I don't, the thing is, I get what he's saying.
For sure.
Where he said, basically, I'm not going to pretend like I experienced
the
racism.
Same thing that like my I think it's his dad.
His dad, and he said he's like his mom experienced it for being married to his dad. Right. And he was like, I'm be honest with you,
I don't experience that.
I don't experience that. When you look at me, you see a white guy.
Right.
So I don't deal with racism. So I'm not gonna sit up here and try to claim your struggle.
Right.
Because although I'm mixed, that has not been my life.
Sure.
I haven't. So from that perspective, I understand what he's saying. I'm just saying, you phrase it a little different, bro.
Bro, like he proverbially fumbles the ball here, right? Like he had an opportunity to actually keep that exact same energy, right? And talk about not like it's almost like changing the narrative, right? Like my dad is black, he experienced racism. My mom, as a white woman, experienced dealing with like the whatever the backlash was
from marrying a
black man, right? I don't have to personally deal with any of that, but this shows you why like ethnicity is blah blah blah. Like, you know what I mean? So like you can literally create.
He had a great opportunity for a better message,
right?
And like you said, he fumbled the ball, and I think that is on him. That's on the organization for not coming up, like
prepping him, like
honestly,
you should have a publicist or a PR person being like, all right, so this is probably the direction that this is going to go in. Just be prepared for these things.
Let's get ahead of this, and here's the message we're going to craft. Right. And that message can still be true to what you want to say, because I'm not saying this person should
make shit up.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's sit down. What do you want to say? Well, I identify as human. No.
That's not what we're going to say at all.
No.
That doesn't work out here.
Right. So
read the room, sir.
Let's take that. Put a pin in that shit.
No, we're gonna throw that garbage.
And let's find a better way to say that. So
right.
I'm not. I read a post where someone was like mad at him for saying. I'm like, I'm not mad at him.
Yeah, you can't be mad at him.
I don't care.
I was like, yeah, you just dropped.
But I'm just like, it was a poor choice of words. I'm not mad at him. Coach Prime was in. He made a statement today. Which
I didn't see that one.
We don't got to dwell too much on it, but it was something that we both talked about.
Okay.
He had a suggestion, like in dealing with some of these hires of black candidates.
Sure.
You're not gonna get a old white billionaire who has had a way of thinking their whole life, who has been successful
to just change
and decide. You're not gonna tell them who to hire.
Right.
You know, the problem is not the NFL.
Right.
Because the NFL can incentivize you to do this all they want.
Correct.
But they can't force you to hire someone you don't want to.
Right.
And you're not going to get change that way. So how you get change is to change things from the top.
Right. You're
not going to get one of these guys to sell. Now, I know there's a bid to buy the Broncos by, I can't remember his name right now.
Okay.
Black billionaire. He owns the gyro. Anyway, he's always in the news. He's great guy, like constantly buying stuff or whatever, or putting in bids to buy stuff. He's an entertainer.
Shaq, like he owns everything.
Right. But like, and I'll remember his name eventually. But like, the bottom line is, he's putting in a bid to buy the Broncos, but you're not going to force owners to sell. Right. Add a couple teams and mandate that these teams are to be purchased by minority ownership or ownership groups or whatever, because since we can't make y'all sell, and you guys aren't hiring black coaches, then we are going to, we'll affirmative action this shit.
Right.
We will create 2 new teams.
Right.
There's plenty of black billionaires out there, minority billionaires. No, you can't buy any of these teams. The same way they could not, and I'm not one of those guys. I try to be a hire the best candidate person, but unfortunately, sometimes you got to be like, nope, I don't care about the best candidate. Now, we're hiring black people.
Optics matters.
Right. Since you guys wouldn't, because there have been plenty of best candidates
that
who
didn't
were
get
black.
hired.
Right. And they didn't get hired because you wanted to hire who you wanted.
Right.
So I'm all for it. Like, I know we talked about this, and Coach Prime said the same thing. He said add 3 teams. I don't know how you add 3 teams to 32 and keep it, like, I don't know how you do, because now it's an odd number.
That's not an issue at all. You don't have to play each team twice. You don't have to.
Well, you don't, but I'm saying, like, for the divisions, like, one division will have one additional team. Like, because remember, within the NFL, like, you have to play a division
I get it.
a certain amount of time. So I'm saying add 4.
There are ways around, like, odd even, but I'm with you.
Rather than do the headache work, add 2 or add 4.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just add an even number, keep it simple, black ownership. So enough on the NFL. What else has been happening? Dave Chappelle.
Right.
He's back in the news.
But not for being transphobic.
Not for being trans. That's Adele.
That's Adele.
That's not Dave this time. Roles have reversed. Dave is in the news for redlining, apparently, or everybody's doing something different. Biden's selling crack pipes. Adele is transphobic.
And it's funny because all these topics are more or less in the same topic, which is like there's always more context to. There's just more. There's more to it than what the clickbait headline says. Right. And so like for Chappelle, I remember when I first saw the headline.
So the headline is basically that Dave Chappelle opposes affordable housing in his neighborhood, threatens to pull investments. That's like the headline.
Correct.
That's it.
Correct.
And they even have the video.
Right. So like when I saw the video, read the headline, I realized when listening to it, I was like, there's not enough information for me to have a real opinion on this, right? Mm-hmm. Like all I know right now is the cost that I guess the city was going to try to incur was going to be like 4 point something million. The amount that he has businesses is 6 point something million. Mm-hmm. So it's like all I can really judge on is from a money standpoint, the city doesn't want to lose the 6 point something million for this affordable housing. So there's that. But then I was like, well, let me think a little bit more. He's living, I can't remember what city it is, but he's in Ohio.
Like Yellow Springs or something like that.
Yeah, like I've spent a lot of time in Ohio. Yeah, there are black people there, but like it's a pretty white state. So I was like, so it's not about black people.
Sorry, Byron Allen.
Oh, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Gotcha,
My
gotcha.
bad.
Yeah.
Guy who's putting in his bid to buy the
Yeah,
Broncos.
yeah.
Byron Allen. My bad. Yeah.
So like, I look at all this and I'm like, it's still not enough information for me to determine what the issue is. And I'm like, well, I also don't want to rush to judgment because I'm not just because I'm a Chappelle fan, but the reason I'm a Chappelle fan is because historically he has had like really good opinions on a lot of issues. So I look at it and I'm like, I just don't know what this means. I'm not rushing to judgment, but all the headlines are like, Chappelle's against affordable housing, blah, blah, blah. I just don't get it.
Mm. So, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
So I initially, based on the headline, was like, damn, that's fucked up. And honestly, it's because although I am also a Dave Chappelle fan, I try to be objective because a lot of the problem is when we support someone, we won't admit when they do something fucked up.
Kanye.
So, right, like Kanye fans who will not accept that, right?
Right.
And so I try to be objective. If it looks bad, I'll admit, no, this looks bad. But I also like, I'll read a little bit more. And the problem was, like with the Chappelle thing, yes, affordable housing was a part of the overall development plan.
And that's what we found out later on.
Right. But it was not the whole thing. It wasn't
the whole thing.
It wasn't like, well, that's the only thing and that's the only reason. So there's more context to it.
Sure.
It's I liken it to the Biden crack pipe bill.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Where like
I see the headline, I'm like,
and
I was like, what the fuck? What?
Headlines, the jokes, the comedy, like, and then and had black people mad.
So the part that actually bothered me more than anything with Biden's plan was we had media outlets that a lot of people look to for information, right? Not saying that they're the typical NBCs and CNNs or whatever it is, but like the Shade Room in particular, right?
Right. It's not a media outlet.
It's not a media outlet, but from a social media standpoint,
absolutely,
they share a lot of news and they have a shit ton of followers.
Right. They're absolutely irresponsible.
So irresponsible because I think that was the first place I saw it, and I was like, what the fuck?
Right.
So then I start like Googling, and I see though also like other platforms also
sharing it,
positioning it that way.
Right. And it's the thing we always complain about. They do it that way because it's sensationalized.
They want you to read their shit. Right. They want you to click on the shit.
They need the views, they need the likes, they need the shares.
Right.
And most people are essentially like, it's like confirmation bias.
You mean sheeple?
But it's not even just sheeple, right? Here's what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's that confirmation bias. If you were one of the people who is immediately anti-Biden,
sure,
and you see this,
just looking for something to like
this immediately
to confirm that I hate him anyway.
Right. So you're like sharing it. If you're one of the people on the fence about Biden,
right,
you see this, and again, it confirms why you were on the fence.
Sure.
So it's the opposite of when it's like, had it been something positive, that's when they might have dug a little deeper. Like, no, this can't be right because this seems too positive. Let me look into this.
So when I read it, like, and again, this is right on the heels of I'm going to hire or I'm going to appoint a black female Supreme Court justice.
Right.
I was like, there's no way. Honestly, for me, I was like, there's no way in hell that he is funding a bill specifically for
crack pipes.
Right? I was like,
History Month.
I was like, there's got to be more to this shit. And then I start reading some more, and I'm like, oh, it's a bill that contains a lot of other shit, and the crack pipe piece, and not just that, but like also the syringe piece, because they didn't talk about the syringe part, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like it's for public health to make sure that people aren't sharing these things and like potentially cross-contaminating and all those other things.
Right. So there's a quick breakdown of it because apparently like no matter how you look at it, again, if you're anti, you're gonna think what you want to think, right?
Sure.
So I like you said, read it really quickly, and basically it's just that was a part of a overall harm reduction plan.
Correct.
At no point did they say the words crack pipe.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was just that, hey, and there was so many, they were saying it was like an 8-page plan on strategies to prevent cross-contamination.
Correct.
While using substances, because they understand, and this isn't like,
people are going to use these substances regardless.
And let me take this a step back. It's not like this was something that Joe Biden himself walked in there and championed.
It's the administration, right?
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was an overall plan from the Department of Health and Human Services.
Joe was like, I want to fund crack pipes.
Right. That's the way they made it seem.
That's exactly how they made it seem.
So, okay, this plan from the Department of Health and Human Services, who analyzed the data, which none of us have fucking done, right?
At all.
I have a friend who works in like that arena.
Sure.
And even when they first sent it to her, she was like, yeah, harm reduction is a thing. Like, some people agree with it, some people don't. But at the end of the day, this is like, without any reading, she immediately.
And that's been happening, if I'm not mistaken, since like the fucking 80s.
Bruh. They give people to wean them off of. It got to the point where this became a drug in itself. They would give addicts Suboxone to try to wean them off of heroin because.
Opioids, yeah.
Right. And to the point where people would now sell Suboxone as the drug itself.
As a drug,
right. So it's not a new phenomenon
at all
to deal with the fact that, listen, we would like to get these people off of these products.
Right.
Off of these drugs. It's not going to happen tomorrow. We can't say, hey, we want to reduce harm, stop smoking. So what we do is provide ways that, okay, at least while you're smoking, let's keep you from also spreading diseases in the community at the same time while we work. Because they said it was an 8-page plan.
Right.
That contained that somewhere in like page 7 or 8.
One line.
Right. And that's the line. But of course, that's the line.
It's sensationalized.
That gets the headline. So that's what people gravitated to.
Sure.
And in reality, it was actually something that could possibly benefit these communities that have a lot of this problem. And then when they start to say, like, people were like, oh, crack pipes for Black History Month for racial equality. And it was like, right, the racial equality piece was, hey, we're going to focus a lot of the funding on underserved communities, because here's the thing. If I just give out blanket funding, and I'm giving funding to communities that already have the money to deal with this problem and are dealing with it effectively, and we're taking money away from communities that actually need it, that defeats the purpose.
I'll even take it a step further, and not to go too deep into this though, right? Like, crack use has increased exponentially in white neighborhoods, in poor white neighborhoods.
Right.
So it's not even a Black thing.
They didn't even say, they underserved communities. So no matter how you try to slice it, and that even goes back to the Dave Chappelle thing.
Right.
This affordable housing, Yellow Springs, Ohio is
it's white as shit. That's what I'm saying. Right.
So when people try to play like this race card, I'm like, let's say it was he just don't want. Maybe he don't want poor white people living next to him. So you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but I'm saying before we.
That's understandable though.
But like before we start playing the race card, look at the community. Who lives there?
Right. And part of the rumor, again, so I don't know, was alleged that like some of the affordable housing itself was going to be right behind, like, bordering his house. And like, again, not to say I agree or disagree, but if there ends up being a security issue at this point, right? Like, I can understand there being concern. Now, I'm not to say that like affordable housing goes out the window because of it, but like there needs to be some kind of provision added if that's the case to make sure that like my property and my security is there.
And now I feel like we need to definitely deal with and address the issue of affordable housing, right?
Sure.
Like we shouldn't just I
don't assume that like because it's affordable housing,
it's gonna be
like crime and all that kind of shit. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, there are people who just are looking to try to live a better life, to get into this, to get into home ownership, and they want to be afforded that opportunity, especially after generations of being denied it. You know what I mean?
Bro.
So
I went to this white high school, right? Super white conservative high school. And there was affordable housing, like more or less right across the street. So my high school was in Potomac, Maryland, right? Affordable housing right across the street. And I remember hearing these kids talk about like, I think it was called like Potomac Yard or something like that, right? Like, oh, that's the ghetto, da-da-da-da. Bruh, I don't even know why, but we drove into the neighborhood. I was like, so all of this is nicer than like my house. Like all this is nicer than my house.
Right.
So like I won't ever invite you guys to my house because like this is nice.
Like if y'all think this is the ghetto, don't.
Y'all don't know that. And worst part, I don't live in the ghetto. So it's like, Yeah, y'all
Yeah.
don't know ghetto though.
No, they absolutely did not, dog. And that's what I'm saying. It's all relative. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So as I was even saying it's affordable housing, we're not talking about the projects.
It's not really affordable
Right.
at the end of the day anyway.
We got to get into the usual.
I know where you. And let me preface this by saying, I remember last week. I remember specifically last week
and the week before.
But specifically last week, you were like, "Yeah, we won't talk about it anymore." And I remember being like, "Nah, I'm sure he's gonna do something else."
Oh my god! I'm so sick of this nigga. You don't even understand. You don't even get it.
You know, like I'm literally at a point now with Kanye where it's just entertaining at this point to me. Like before, I was annoyed because I was like, I don't feel like giving this energy. And now I'm like, what's he gonna do next? It's really the Howard Stern effect for me, right? Like I'm paying attention just to see what he does next because everything that he does. Okay, since last week, so we recorded literally a week ago because last week Tuesday we recorded.
Yeah,
and today is Tuesday.
Right.
So 7 days.
Not when y'all are watching.
Not when y'all are watching, but like 7 days, yeah. And so much has happened.
So much has happened. Like he won't take us out of the group chat, dog. He won't let us free.
Like we left, and he was like, "No, I'm re-adding you. I'm re-adding you.
Give us free, Kanye."
He was like, "Yo, matter of fact, you're an admin now."
So let me tell you something.
Okay.
Right. I'm gonna admit, Kanye, you win. You won. And so there was a point where I felt like, and I still feel like this to an extent, right?
Right.
I don't typically believe anything celebrities do. I believe that everything they do has a motive behind it. And I think he has an album coming out, and this is all like as outlandish and crazy as I can seem that will keep me in the public eye while I have this album coming out. Because if you remember, he was relatively quiet for a little while. Even with Donda coming out, he only did like straight up things related directly to Donda. Right. Like he did the listening party, etc. Right. The constant delays and setbacks, etc. So now with Donda 2 coming out, it seems to me like he's generating buzz. So there's a part of me that doesn't want to buy into it because by continuing to talk about him, what I'm doing is adding to the fuel of that, even for as big or as little as it is. Sure. We're still, but nah, like, but you win.
The kids are involved though, so like that's why I'm like, I don't think that this is just.
I absolutely. I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares.
Maybe.
I don't think he cares.
Yeah, maybe.
Bro, you're giving him, and here's why I don't think he cares. I remember when he made that whole big stink and fuss about not being invited to the party. Yeah. And he starts off with, "Man, I was on my way to Miami today. Then I got this threat." So I was like, "You were on your way to Miami. You didn't even know. So you didn't even. Are you now realizing it's your kid's birthday? You either didn't even fucking know, or you didn't actually care. You had other shit, but now you found out about this birthday party you weren't invited to. And now it's, I want to see my kids. I love my kids so much." So I'm like, He doesn't give a shit, dog. Yeah. Nobody's going to convince me that he does. Yeah. Nobody. Yeah. Kanye cares about Kanye.
I agree.
I
agree with that. I just meant that, like, and maybe I'm kind of contradicting myself, but like, I feel like it's not solely marketing because the kids are, not because the kids are only involved, but he's also talking about, or trying to talk about, like, protecting the kids in the process. No. Like, I mean, clearly he's not doing it, but like,
not only is he not doing, what he's doing is making it worse. Like he's actually, so let's be real, right? Kanye's a billionaire. So you have the resources, and I say this all the time. There's a lot of people with no money that are able to work on their relationship with their estranged, divorced, former partner in a way that keeps themselves handling the situation and keeps the kids safe. There are a lot of rich people who are famous, who are very quietly and comfortably handling their divorces. You don't hear about it.
I shout out Miguel. I actually saw it today, because I don't know if you knew, like, Miguel was separating from his wife. Mm. Like, they posted today, I think it was, like, very quietly, they dealt with their shit. And now they're like all in love and shit. Now we don't know what's going on, but to your point, they dealt with their shit quietly without putting it in the fucking like universe. And now they're good.
Megan Good returned to the streets, and we ain't hear nothing negative about like their situation. Like
at all.
It happened. They split. They kept that shit. Like that shit made social media news
Yep.
for like a day
Yep.
and died down. So
because Rihanna got pregnant, that's why.
That too.
Right.
So I'm not gonna give the excuse
fair,
of
fair.
oh, it's because they're famous.
Yeah.
It's on. No, it's in the limelight
I
because he's putting it there
Yeah.
and keeping it there.
Yes.
And that's where I'm like, you know what? This publicity, I don't give a shit what anybody tells. Like,
I'm with it.
And so with that, in that regard, you win because no, I'm talking about you. Like you got me.
We're
because
talking about him.
Because it's interesting. I don't care that it's for publicity.
Totally. I want a case study done on this. Like there can legit be what's the term, narcissistic something syndrome, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like there could be a case study like solely on this.
Yeah.
Because when you look at the levels, right? Like so many things happened in the last week. So what I remember was Kim was on the cover of Vogue.
She was.
Right? And there was some irony because, like, I don't know if it was 10 years ago, but she was also on the cover of Vogue with him before. This time, she's on the cover of Vogue, and then, like, the spread was more or less her, and then her and the kids. Mm-hmm. And right after that, like, triggered him to love bomb. And he started going online, like, I love my wife, on my wife back, all this bullshit. And then, like, soon after that, like, apparently there's rumors that he has another diss track to Pete Davidson, right? You know, it's like, if you want your wife, why you focus on Pete? Like, leave Pete alone.
Bruh, here's the crazy part, right? Not only is you focused on Pete, he left Kid Cudi off his album. And then, and the thing.
Not just left him off the album, decided. Because he could have just left him off the album and not said anything.
Right.
Decided to go online.
That's what I was going to say.
Right.
That's what I was going to say. Like, you left him off. No one would have asked. No one would have noticed. Somebody might have been like, oh, you know what's good?
Not one person other than in Kid Cudi's camp
would have
realized, because nobody knows who's supposed to be on the album.
Right. But you made a public statement. I did this because he's friends with you know who. Bruh. And I was like,
bruh. And that same kind of energy, it was, he's supposed to headline at Coachella, and I'll give him this, decide that he's going to pull Travis with him to perform.
Right.
And I know Travis has been dealing with a whole bunch of backlash from Astroworld.
Yeah.
But instead of just being like, I'm going to pull you on, cool, decides, no, I'm going to publicly say to Billie Eilish, you need to apologize to Travis because of the snub that you gave him. Apparently in one of her shows, and honestly, it might have been a snub, but like in one of her shows, a person that was at the show looked like they were struggling, and she had said something along the lines of like, I make sure I take care of people who are like not doing well.
Right, like gave them an inhaler or something like that.
Something like that. So like it might have been a snub, but honestly, this is not your place to be trying to defend.
You're not Jay Prince, dog. Like
at all.
Nobody, ain't nobody scared of you, dog.
At all. And it's funny because Billy was like, I never said anything about.
I never mentioned
Travis.
them.
I was like, your PR person, if the PR person told you, if not, it was you. Perfect. You literally responded the exact way you should have.
Right.
I didn't say shit about Travis.
I didn't mention him. I didn't bring him up. And then apologize about it. So starts with the leaving Kid Cudi off the album. Then we go to posting veiled threats.
Bro.
At Pete, calling him Skeet.
Which I think is kind of funny though.
Of course.
I mean, like I wouldn't call him that, but I think it's funny that he's created like a persona for him.
I don't even think it's funny. I think it's back to it's like kid shit.
But that's what I mean, what did we do earlier before the camera started rolling? And I think Cupid said like he was making a sentence and he was like doo doo, and I was like, oh, he said doo doo, and I started laughing. I'm a child.
Clearly.
I'm a fucking child. So calling him Skeet,
which is why you would enjoy that stupid shit.
Again, I wouldn't call him Skeet, but I think it's funny.
And that's why. And so then we get into what did he do after that? Oh,
so many things.
No,
so much shit has happened.
I'm trying to
bring it all like in a timeline.
At least a semblance of a timeline.
You literally just have to throw it out there because like it all happens like congruently. That like it's hard to really tell what happens when.
Right. So here's the other thing, right? There was the Kid Cudi thing, right? Like we said,
right?
It's calling him Skeet.
Right.
Then there's the love fest of how much he wants his family
The
back.
love bomb. Oh, but that is transcendent because there's been a multiple love bombing.
Right.
Yeah, yep.
And then there was the what do you call it? I'm trying to blank on this one. He's done so much. Oh, there was the Kim texting him.
The worst part about the Kim texting him part was there are a couple texts. So I'm not sure which one you're talking about, but like
the first one.
So the very first one that I saw at least was her saying to him like, why do all of our conversations have to go like online?
No, I think the first one was when she mentioned you're going to do X, Y, like you're
so that's the second one.
That's the second one?
To my knowledge.
Okay.
Because at least the first one what I saw like online was her being like, yo, like why do all of our conversations have to go online?
Right.
This nigga responds to her and says, because you're the most important person in life, or whatever, like, and then screenshots it and then posts it. I was like, Kanye, what the fuck, bro? Right. What the fuck? And then to your point though, right? Like the next text that I saw afterwards, and again, it might just be me.
Mm-hmm.
She sends a text about like Pete's safety,
right?
And not only does he more or less trivialize it by posting a picture of like Baby Boy, where Vin Rhames has like.
And said
nobody,
Tyrese,
like,
and says nobody hurt him.
Right. So
I'll handle it myself.
Right. Like it's like, bruh, that's just it's dangerous as fuck. And then like again another added layer, which again text messages, which he posts online. And again, we don't know the timing of all this shit, but Pete apparently like he and Pete were texting, allegedly, and
Pete basically in the text at least the screenshot.
Right. So exactly what I was gonna say. Right. So the screenshot more or less, and it doesn't show the entire thing, but like it shows enough that Pete's like, yo, more or less, I don't want to be a part of your shit, but hopefully we can, like, I can meet your kids and we can be cool. And then he sends a barrage of fucking texts via Instagram now about like, you're never gonna be my kids, and then sends the picture of him on SNL.
Yeah.
Like it's all this other shit. I'm like,
he posted some stuff from like what Pete did or said about Ariana Grande.
Right, and then there was another one with like him and Machine Gun Kelly in a picture.
He's being childish as fuck.
There you go.
like doing all the shit a kid would do, like just a petulant child when you're like not getting your way, and then on top of all that. Then he texts like Michael Che or screenshots Michael Che.
That was the funniest though.
To tell him, hey,
I'll pay you twice as much. What
to never have to sit next to that chump or whatever he called him. And I'm like
Michael Che's response was the best though.
Yeah, because Che's funny and
Che's a fucking genius.
Yeah, he's actually pretty fucking hilarious though.
Right, but he's also pretty fucking like I know you saw his stand up where.
Matters?
Where it was like the all buildings matter shit.
Yeah, Matters, yes.
Yeah, like the dude is smart as shit. He leads into the conversation as some like I was reading, I was like, I can't believe Michael Che is about to agree to shit. And then like goes off, I was like, oh. I was like, Michael Che is about the shit right now.
And then the best part of it is I'm fairly certain Kanye doesn't realize niggas are shitting on him. Like I'm sure. He doesn't. Because to even involve Michael Che, obviously you pick a black guy who at some point during like their like newscast on SNL, it does have to sit across from Pete Davidson. And so you're like, but he's not the only black guy. You didn't go to Keenan.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You decide, okay, I'm going to go to Che. And I'm going to make some outlandish statement about, I'll double your salary so you wouldn't have to sit next to him. I'm like, and Che was like, nah, you'd have to triple it. $90K a year. Like, just... completely, and I need like the new Yeezys when they come out, and like just making all of these like crazy,
I loved all of it.
Because he was like, and I like the fact that he was like, I can't not respond,
right?
Or he could have very no. What I'm saying is listen. What I'm saying is like from a business perspective, I'm not even gonna acknowledge what Kanye's saying. As a comedian, he's like, oh, I got something for
This
you.
is golden.
Right. He's like, I got this. I'll take care of it.
I literally write for SNL.
Right.
Like, this is gonna be fun.
Like, I wonder if Kanye thinks that him and Michael Che are probably cooler than Michael Che and Pete Davidson, who he has to work with once a week, every week.
I mean, like, all roads lead to narcissism, so he probably
Right. He
it.
probably believes in his mind, and I don't know any of them, but I would believe I would have a little bit more like if I'm, unless there's some
tension,
right, on the set, I would kind of feel like, yeah, I'm kind of riding with my boy who
I work with.
We get bread together weekly.
Right. You know, like it's all crazy. I mean, and yesterday, Valentine's Day, apparently he sent like a truck full of roses to Kim, and like the part that like makes me almost gag, right, is that with all that he's doing, Kim is the adult in this whole situation. Like it just makes
funny
me...
you mentioned Kim and gagging. That's hilarious.
Really? And who's the child now? But seriously, like, she's the adult in the fucking relationship, bro.
Honestly, bro, take Keeping Up with the Kardashians out of the equation, right? Mm-hmm. There's nothing that indicates that Kim isn't a well-adjusted, mature adult, for sure. Right?
Yeah.
Who is just like in reality, if you think about it, take the sex tape out of it, which was 20 years ago.
Right. Which nobody actually cares about anyway.
Nobody cares about. Take that out of it. Has led a relatively scandal-free life, despite being more or less in the public eye.
Right.
I can't think of one. If there's one that I'm not thinking of, somebody
there are no scandals. The only issue is the body piece, like, if anything, right? Like,
right, but nothing has been. It's not like she's been like this tabloid media. Like it's always something. She's always doing something, right?
Correct.
So now at this point, and it's that you have to admit is kind of difficult to do when you are constantly, because you have a reality show,
right? And
then in addition to your reality show, you're on social media. And you're doing different appearances, different places.
Right.
So you don't get a lot of time that you're not being seen.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And I still managed to keep it together in this very busy lifestyle. I couldn't live. So the fact that she's being the adult makes sense when you think of who she's, especially
that's a good point,
compared to this dude who has never been the adult. Right. Like the bulk of stuff that she has been involved in has come directly related to being with Kanye.
Yeah. I guess the way I look at it, and you make a really good point. The way I look at it though is like, as someone who has honestly made her dynasty more or less on reality TV.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't look at anyone on reality TV as an adult.
Right.
So that's really more like where I'm looking at it.
I got that. And that's why I was like, when you really think, because I was the same way.
Right.
I was 100% the same way. And I think part of the problem was because I still a lot of time equate some of these reality TV women to like the Snookies and the Paris Hiltons, where the whole thing was to be this dumb person on TV, where she's not that dumb at all. But,
she's not dumb at all. Right.
So, but it's like, okay, this is the persona I've put forth, so I have to kind of continue to play that up. So you infantize a lot of these people in your mind because you think of them as these young dumb people, when in reality they're not.
Right.
Grown, intelligent adults, a lot of whom have come from money, so they've been rich all their lives.
Right.
And now they're navigating both being rich and doing it in the public eye.
Yeah.
And doing it well, like doing it with grace, right? So I give her a lot of credit from that perspective. And then now, honestly, I think I'm giving her more credit because I'm realizing you've had to put up with this nigga.
The entire time.
The whole time.
I'll take a step further though. She chose this nigga though.
Yeah, I mean,
she chose him.
Yeah,
she knew what she was dealing with.
I don't know if she knew, but because I don't think any of us saw all of this. You know what I mean?
No, I get it.
Like we saw flashes.
Yeah, but it's okay. So I read a meme this week that says something along the lines. I'm totally butcher it. It was like, your guy, like, so it was more or less like, people might think like the girlfriend's like partner, boyfriend, or whatever it is great person, but she is the only one that actually gets to see him show up every single day. So, right. Like, so essentially, taking it like and translating here, yes, you're right. Like, none of us saw it turning into this, but she had to have seen signs along the way that like he had some of this in him.
No, I'm not saying no. Not saying no at all. But I think, and we don't know their life, right? But I think when you deal with two busy people like them.
I give you that. Good point.
And people who are busy in separate arenas. So it's not like they're even busy, but together.
Right.
Like there's probably been a lot of disconnect where the times together are great.
Good point.
You know what I mean?
And COVID brought them together. It was like, yeah. And she was like, who the fuck got married?
I didn't even think of that.
I would have said it because like I was in a situation where I was like, yo, my ex was happy that I was finally home and not traveling. And then right after it was like, who are you?
Right. Then you're around the person all the time and you realize, I think I made a grave mistake.
Nigga, get out.
Right. And that's what happened with the COVID. She saw this nigga for what he is. And was like,
COVID brought people together, and COVID also like separated people. It helped show people like who they were dealing with.
Yo, what happened to Julia Fox?
They broke up apparently.
Did they actually?
They apparently broke up.
Because very recently he was at the airport like demanding. These videos are not old.
That was like last week.
Right.
That was like last week.
He was showing up at the airport demanding, nah. Make sure you get out the shot. Like making the dude car was gonna get towed. He was like, you gotta take one for the team. You're getting the footage.
Right. So like apparently, I actually don't care enough, but like I read enough that I think TMZ or some other outlet had captured her looking disheveled at LAX and posted that like she was unhappy because of the breakup. Because I think that like they had already, I guess, announced that they were broken up. Which again, this is less than a week ago because this wasn't like
it's not long,
right.
Bro.
And then she clapped back, and that's one thing I will say. Like I honestly didn't know anything about Julia Fox before this situation.
I still don't.
I didn't realize that she was on Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler.
Okay.
I didn't realize because I mean, like her character wasn't important enough for me to care about that. But anyway, she ended up clapping back and was like, "Actually, I ran from whatever gate to another gate, and that's the reason why I look disheveled." And she even threw in there like because I was on my way to see the most important men in my life, and it was like her dad and her son or something like that.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, cool. But apparently they're broken up. Which totally makes sense. Like, there's no way
it does now.
Like I was like, there's no way he's doing all this love bombing shit, and like I don't care how much.
Bad. What happened, dog? That song ain't even dropped yet.
That's what I was saying. Like, there's no way.
And that song's still on the album. It ain't even dropped yet.
It ain't dropped yet. It ain't dropped yet.
The circus that is Kanye. Now I will say this though. It's dangerous. Because this shit that he's doing, like, one, you're involving the kids.
Yes.
You're mad at her for how she's raising the kids. You're definitely putting them in a very volatile situation, and you're handling it poorly as someone who has the means to handle it properly.
Sure.
You absolutely have the means to handle this correctly and continue to do what you do, put out your music, make albums, etc., and make time for them.
Right.
But you don't actually want to make time for them. What you want to be seen making time for them. That's what it is. That's all it is. That's why when I tell you, I don't know Kanye.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
I'll take this. He don't give a fuck about the kids. I don't care what nobody tell me. Or he gives a fuck about them to the point of the status of being a dad.
Sure.
So it's more about these are my, like, I am their father.
It wouldn't matter who they are. No. It plays into
I don't think
who he is as
exactly.
their father.
Because everything he does, he has to talk about it publicly. I'm doing this for my kids. I'm doing this. Nothing's just done.
Yeah.
Nothing is ever just done. And when he does it, it must be posted. So I don't believe him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I just don't.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I don't even care if I'm wrong on this one. No, when I say, because I'm going off the evidence. And the evidence says, nah, this is it. It's about Kanye showing that he's Kanye. And the problem is, even with the threat to Pete Davidson, and then kind of walking it back.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like some Donald Trump move, like where you get this person who's a straight narcissist will say things that will incite violence, that will cause people to be violent. Because I don't know if you saw, it was Jake Paul or one of the internet boxers or whatever was talking about knocking out Pete Davidson, like, you know, because being in Kanye's corner and shit. So now you got dudes not even involved.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Talking about doing this to this guy. You getting mad at people who, talking about Kid Cudi, like, I'm fighting for my family and you don't got my back. You still friends with this person. Like, give a shit about you. Like, he ain't do nothing to me. He actually ain't do nothing to you either.
Right.
Like, in all reality.
And the funny part about that is, like, he was like, you'll never meet my kids. It's like, you don't actually have any say in that. Like,
Zero.
First of all, it's very possible that he's already met your kids.
Already met
but even if he hasn't,
even if Kim is like, nah, let's chill.
Right, like Kim is still the one who decides when.
So who she's dating meets the kid.
Right, and granted, we can say that because we also, as dads of kids from someone who we're not with, like, that is totally a plausible thing.
Not plausible. It's the reality. I can't, and this is the problem with Kanye and control. And that's where, right now, I think that's the bigger picture. Because he is in a position that he has no control.
At all.
And that is killing him as a narcissist and a control freak and an egomaniac and all the other shit, all the other words I've used to describe this idiot. Like, he's being killed by the fact that he can't control this situation. Yeah. So because he can't control it, he now has to be court of public opinion. Like, I have to put everything on social media and try to gain people to my side. I have to gain my fans who are my sheeple to say, yeah, you doing the right thing. Keep on going. And at the end of the day, one, he's giving her lawyers fodder.
Dog, they're so happy. They're like, thank you.
Right.
Please.
They're like,
keep on talking.
Keep talking.
Keep on talking.
They're screenshotting everything. Because he's deleting everything shortly after. You know his page now, he got 3 posts.
Right.
Dog, he did the ransom note joint where my account is not...
It's not hacked. Bruh. I was like, this is just absolutely fucking ridiculous at this point in time. Like... But what it is that he realized how ridiculous he was coming across because people were like, this can't be real.
But dog, it looked like he wrote that shit in crayon with his hand, like he was holding the pen like this. My account, that's what it looked. It didn't even look written well, son. So like, all of the shit that he's doing is just, now again, album publicity. I believe it's 90% album publicity.
Sure. And like I said last week, because Future executive produced that shit, I can't wait to listen to it. Like, I haven't listened to his last few albums. Yeah. I have them all. Haven't listened to any of them. But because Future is the executive producer, I can't wait. The toxicity in this album, oh my God. I can't wait to see how dope this is going to be.
I think we're going to end on this one. All right. Because Kanye, I'm going to say it. We know you're gonna do something next week, so we just gonna get ready for whatever. I don't want to have a recurring theme of talking about, but
sure.
But I'm gonna end with this. Like, I don't want to see this end poorly.
Sure.
Meaning, somebody hurt, somebody in jail, or these kids who got nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
Having like issues that they got to deal with because of this nigga. So hopefully next week he doesn't do enough to be worth talking about. I don't believe for a second he won't do anything. Hopefully it's not enough to be worth talking about.
So actually, I got a shameless plug.
Okay.
So I gotta say to all the viewers, my boy Spider Strong.
Okay.
This actually marks 5 years since he passed. Like literally today.
Okay.
Yeah. So make sure you check out the Spider Strong Foundation. It is solely focused on lymphoma and leukemia research, and support for people who are dealing with that.
Yep.
Like, that was my guy. It was a lot of people's guys. He was part of the fabric of DC. Big bro.
Definitely.
Just check it out. Like, Spider all day. It's my guy.
Click the link you can go to Spider Strong and, like you said, check it out, donate, purchase some of the merch. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you can.
Right, you rock it, and ultimately the money that you pay for it goes toward a really, really good fucking cause.
Right. So with that being said, we want to thank you guys for rocking with us again. Make sure you like and subscribe. Follow us on all the social media platforms. Tell your friends. And, you know, we're on everything: Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and, of course, if you're viewing us, YouTube.
Yep.
And with that being said, we will catch y'all next week.
This is Dre.
This is Rich, and we are out.
Boom. If you enjoyed this, make sure you check out all our full episodes on YouTube at Guys Unpacked.
Also, we're available anywhere you get your podcast, and follow us on all social media at Guys Unpacked.